the real estate community. So all we ask is that you listen to the show, share it with a friend, and subscribe. And also, please, right now, this is a live show. Please share the show. Please also ask any questions. These guys ask them off camera if they're willing to share, all their what goes on into the operation. So they're going to be an open book for us. So make sure that you put your questions on the live, and that way we can get to answer them. Okay. And are you guys ready?
We're ready, man. Let's do it.
Awesome. Welcome. So like Steve does, what got you both into real estate?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so it was actually my older brother.
Okay.
So I was going to school to be a police officer, and I wanted just, security.
Right.
I wanted entitlement in a way of being a police officer, you know what I mean, have that respect in the community.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Yeah, and I was going to school to be a cop. My older brother is a real estate agent.
Okay.
And he was telling me, dude, you got to get into real estate. I was 18, right? He was pushing Rich Dad Poor Dad on me, right? He was like, you got to do this. And for about a year, I was like, dude, that's all you, do you'll do real estate. I'm going to do me. I'm going to be a cop. You can be the successful one of the family. And it got to a point where he was just like, dude, you would crush it in real estate. So
Yeah.
I'm going to pay for your first event. I'm going to fly you out with me. We went to an event in Nevada.
Yeah.
It was a real estate event, personal development event.
Nice.
And I just looked at it as like a free weekend trip with my older brother.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I'm in. And I went to that event, and it just, totally changed my mindset about just owning businesses, getting into real estate,
Right.
making more money, passive income in the long term, stuff like that. And so at that event, I was like, all right, I got to get into real estate. 2 weeks after that event, I dropped out of school.
Wow.
And just went all in with real estate.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. What got you into real estate?
Oh, man. I mean, so just ever since a little kid, just all of the successful people around me, some part of their success was attached to real estate. Whether
Right.
they made a lot of money in their jobs and they
Right.
bought assets, whether they were directly involved into real estate, or one thing or another. Anytime anyone had like an extra chunk of money, they wanted to buy a piece of property.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of always around me as far as what how people measure success in a
Right.
way, right? So I had a different business before this, which I did very well in, and I also bought a lot of real estate, buy and hold assets, and through that process, I figured I learned about wholesaling.
Okay, right.
And actually attempted to buy a property from a wholesaler, which I wound up backing out on, and they kept my earnest money.
That doesn't happen.
He was one of those.
Was he the wholesaler?
Yeah, right. Probably, I don't know, man. So I learned about wholesaling, and then I realized very, very quickly that wholesaling was in my mind right now, is just the best way to get assets at the most. The best price, basically.
Right.
The lowest price. So there's a lot of real estate that I bought wrong. There's a good amount that I bought right over time after buying X amount of assets. But the seller direct concept just blew my mind, and I was obsessed with it at that point.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Like always think about like wholesale is the first tier of real estate investing, and you're right. It's one of the things that I look at as far as that's because you know how to source properties, how to source deal. So I guess the next question: how long ago did you both partnered up to start, your business together?
Yeah, so we opened up RLA Regency Litho Assets is the name of our business.
Right.
We opened the actual LLC up in June of 2017. Right, It was June of 2017?
Yes.
And so that was a little bit over 2 years ago. And then we met in January of 2017.
Okay,
Yep.
January 2017.
And I was wholesaling before I met Dom. And basically I had these big buyers that were out of the country.
Right.
They were buying rental properties, trying to build a portfolio in Jacksonville.
Right.
And Dom had his rentals on the market.
Wow. Okay.
And so I basically put in some offers, wholesaled some of his rentals to my buyers, and that's how Dominick and I connected.
Got you. That's awesome. Pretty similar story, like I was sharing with you guys how Steve and I, both got together. So what did your first wholesale deal look like together after you partnered up?
Well, it's funny when we started our wholesale business.
Yeah.
Like Gonzalo said, we met in January.
Right.
About a couple of months after we met, we proposed to each other to go into business together.
Okay.
And then, like he said, we launched it officially in June.
He proposed to me.
I got on one knee. I got on one knee. Actually,
where's the ring at?
I had to lay down flat to propose to him. So that's not a short joke, G. So after a couple months, we knew we wanted to be business partners. Went into business with each other June of 2017.
Nice.
We launched our first campaign. It was a direct mail campaign.
Right. Okay.
And here's the
direct
thing.
Mail, fun.
Here's the thing. We had an agreement, right? Which G hasn't made right yet. And
Always comes out.
This is what happened, right? We're supposed to bring $350 to the table for a $700 direct mail campaign.
Right.
G brings $300. I bring my $350. So we actually had two deals from that campaign. That we may have had another one, but the two that stand out, our first deal was just a $2,000 assignment fee. The second one was a $13,000 assignment fee.
That's awesome.
And it really made everything very real for us.
Right.
Now the thing is, like, fast forward, it's now close to 2.5 years later. We're having consistent 6-figure months. We had 19 deals last month, so we're doing really, really great. Dude still didn't pay me my $50 back.
Where's the $50, man?
And he won't do it.
It's just a great story. So now it'll never get paid off.
Oh, man.
Right. So now my kids can't eat lunch. Like, we're struggling on our part, but he's living lavish with Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff.
So you go and ask him, where's my $50? And then he says, the way my savings account works to my
the
checking account.
The way my bank account.
I got a checking. I got a savings.
I got a savings. Awesome. So that's really great. You guys have done a lot in the time that you guys partnered up. Overall, what does your operation look like right now in Jacksonville?
That's a great question, man. So we really like to focus a lot of time on the system. Everyone talks about systems, processes, automation.
Yep.
Super important to us. We kind of prematurely built our system to handle a heavy influx. And now that we've got it to where we have it at, we can capitalize a little bit more on the sales. Right. So now we're working on hiring more and more salespeople to funnel, just leads and deals through the system.
Yeah.
So we're really big on systemizing the process.
Yeah.
There's a lot of judgment in real estate. Right. Everyone talks about the transactions as a lot of times it's more of an art versus a science, and you have to make judgment calls and gut feelings. We do a lot of that, and we understand that, so we cater to that. But we also want to spend a whole lot of time figuring out how to take the judgment out of it, right?
Correct.
And how to just make it more of a science than it is an art.
Correct.
Because real estate is very, very funky. So what we've done is we kind of have like a round robin flow in our office, right?
Right.
It starts with the marketing and lead generation, so we have an individual that handles that.
Okay.
And once we pull in the leads, it goes to an underwriter in our company, and the underwriter basically runs the numbers, looks at the level of motivation, and then takes that lead from the underwriting state and assigns it to our acquisition managers. So we have a few acquisition managers in our company.
Right.
And then they go to work on locking up the deals.
Right.
And once they lock the deals up, then it goes to our buyer marketer.
Nice.
And the buyer marketer just markets it in so many ways. Email blasts, connected investors, bigger pockets, Craigslist. There's like a good handful of things that they do, and they have their checklist so that nothing gets missed.
Right.
And that's another thing. Like, we have like an 82-step deal flow.
Okay.
That basically, when we have a deal, we have a written checklist that goes from person to person.
Right.
So it just goes down kind of like an assembly line. It goes down the written assembly line so that no part of the deal gets missed, so that by the time it goes to closing, it really is a smooth transaction, because they can get very messy very, very quick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know that probably just as well as we do.
Right.
So after the buyer marketer, that's going to cause interest to come in. From the public, from buyers, from investors.
Right.
So it's going to drive calls into the company, emails into the company, text messages into the company.
Right.
What we do a slight bit as well is we do proactive buyer reach out.
Okay.
To where we have our disposition manager reach out to buyers proactively rather than always reactively.
Right.
And we see that makes a huge difference. So that's one of the things that we want to capitalize on a lot more in the near future. So for that matter, we're hiring an additional disposition manager.
Because you guys, it sounds like you want to focus it more on the relationship aspect instead of a blast per
Correct.
se, you know? Yeah.
Correct. I mean, part of the reason is we're so damn busy every single day, you know?
Yeah.
Investors, they're working on their flips, they have their buy and
Correct.
holds, they have everything going on. You've probably seen it in tons of people's email inboxes. They have 1,000 unread emails that they haven't gotten to.
Yeah.
Most of them are probably ours because we're email blasting so damn much. But, they don't, as much as we cover with our marketing, they miss our deals.
Right.
So we have to take our deals and put it right in front of their face in order for them to recognize, oh, this is a deal that might be able to work for me. We want to capitalize on that aspect. So we're going to spend more time working on that.
Right.
So the buyer marketer goes to the disposition manager,
Mm-hmm.
and then once they lock up a deal under contract on the disposition side, then the deal goes to our transaction coordinator that handles everything from that point on.
Awesome.
This way, we keep our sales team just working on purely sales and separate out all the, the attention takers.
Yeah, and sounds like you guys have it down to a T, which is great. Okay. And you guys can elaborate a little more on this because we're talking about your business and your structure.
Yeah.
I think that's the that's the dividing line that we're fighting, where you become more of an individual person making a deal or two to where you go into owning a business, right?
Yes.
Right.
And I think that's kind of, you guys have found the way, and you're always trying to improve, and I think that's what you guys are trying to do. As far as, do we have a business or do we have just we do wholesale deal here and there, right? And so what specific systems, since we're on that, are you guys lean on more than anything?
As far as like programs and stuff like that?
Yeah, as far as programs, like with all the processes and all the 80 steps. I mean, let's talk about that, the 80-step process, to make sure that the deal goes correctly. Where are you guys running that in a certain system, or how's that laid out for your acquisition guys?
Yeah, so basically we use very old-fashioned, right, old school.
Right.
We just have a folder in the office.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, so we call it the deal flow.
Okay.
Right, the deal flow is what's like 80-something steps.
Gotcha.
And we're always taking some out, adding new ones.
Yeah, a written checklist.
Gotcha, okay.
But it's literally 80-something steps.
Yeah.
And it goes from the beginning, very detailed, as to create a new lead inside of Podio, because we use Podio as a CRM, right?
Okay.
So create a new lead inside of Podio. Run comps. Create offer item for acquisition closer. Send to acquisition closer. So then it goes to acquisition closer. Did they negotiate the price that we wanted? Did they send out the field guy to go take the pictures?
Right.
And then it's broken down by department, right?
Yeah.
Field, then acquisitionist, then it goes back to the disposition marketer, then it goes to the disposition manager.
Yeah.
Then from that it goes to the transaction coordinator. So the way that we manage that, track that, is literally manila folder.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Every property gets a manila folder, and then in the front flap we just staple that deal flow.
Yeah.
And as it goes around the office, everybody just checks off on
That's
their task.
awesome.
And it works out great.
Yeah.
We made it very simple. It's a visual, tangible item. And it does drive them to make changes in our CRM. I mean, we're not doing everything with physical papers and folders.
No, right.
But it drives them to keep our CRM a lot more organized.
And the key there is tangible, right? So it's right there. They're looking at it to
Yes.
compare where it's maybe in the CRM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's cut a lot of steps from them coming to you guys. I'm assuming that's probably
the idea.
That's the idea.
Because nobody in our office has real estate experience. Yeah, when we first got started, I was the only one with wholesale experience.
Right.
Dom had an experience with building a business, and I think that's what made us partner up. Kind of what you were just saying is you can wholesale as a side hustle, or you can wholesale and treat it like a business.
Right.
And that's what I think brought us together. Is I wanted to take wholesaling to the next level, right? Building a business, having team, having employees, and stuff like that.
Right.
But I had never done that before. I had just been, wholesaling, and Dom had full-blown business.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of got together. So I think
that's awesome.
that was huge. And going into the business, everybody that we brought on had no real estate experience.
Right.
So it was me teaching Dom what the system to create, and Dom putting it into a checklist, Dom creating the script for it, and
That's
stuff
awesome.
like that. And
That's awesome. And going off that, I know a lot of majority of partners. Steve, actually, let me back up. Steve has a question. He's on here. So his question is, and I think this is perfect, that we can piggyback off that. He says a large majority of partnerships fail. How do you two keep your partnership healthy?
It's communication, I think, is the ultimate number one thing. We meet a lot. It's hard to meet as much as we meet without disruption to the business, so we'll meet at unusual times. So one huge contributor is we meet every Saturday and every Sunday, early in the morning before the rest of the world's day starts. So our meetings will be from like 6 a.m. until 8 a.m. Most of the time it goes to like 9 or 10 just because we can't get away from it because we're so dialed in. And when you make momentum and progress on something that you're working on really, really hard, you step away, you're going to have to refresh, and that's going to waste more time. So we just try to get it done. So we'll meet Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings every single week. We discuss whatever it is that we have to discuss. We get our arguments out of the way, and then we go to work with very little disruption throughout the week. Right.
Now, is that aside? So is that your Monday morning meeting per se, but you do it on Saturday, or do you guys hold a Monday morning meeting as well? Between yourselves.
No, so we do not hold like a Monday morning meeting with the team or anything like that. But those are our days and times to meet with ourselves. So we'll just throughout the week, we'll just think of an idea. Oh, that's something to talk about this weekend. We'll jot it down, and then we'll have, all right, this Saturday let's talk about, when are we gonna hire the next dude, or is this campaign working, whatever. Because just throughout the day, we're still very involved in the business.
I totally feel you, because I am too, and there's some times where I'll have to take a Saturday, or or I call them my buffer days, or where I go hide, because I got to be out of the office, man, because I got to get stuff done. But I totally understand where you guys are coming from on that. Now, how's your business as far as wholesale deals, flipping, rentals? Like, what's the percentage of each one in your business right now currently, you would say?
So before I answer that, I do want to touch on one thing with the partnership real quick, because I think it's something that really makes us work well together, is we have a common vision. You know what I mean? Sense. So we have similar goals, similar mindset to the level of success that we want to achieve. And I think that's what makes us a good partnership, because we know, we both, want a $100 million company in the next 10 years, right? So it's not like I just want to do 3 deals a month and relax on the beach, and he wants to build an empire. It's going to clash every single day. Decisions are made differently because of the end goal. And so we have a very similar vision, and I think that's what helps us, and makes it easier for us to agree on things and stuff like that, because I might, what we decide might be not the best decision in the short term, but it might be better long term. So we'll agree to make different decisions based on our long-term goal.
Makes sense. I don't know if you guys have done this already, if you've taken a Colby test. So Steve and I, and it sounds like you're almost similar to us, where you guys probably have a lot of different strengths, and then you come and work together. So you have a strength set that matches with his. But on the Colby test, if you take the Colby test and then if you take one, it'll tell you how you guys work together. And we have total separate strengths, so that's how we work really well. Plus, same vision and everything, and that's huge. I mean, if you're not in tune to walk together, you're not going to be heading the same direction. So
the
totally
Colby
agree.
test, no, we haven't taken that. We'll have to take it. Is that like a disc test?
Sort of. It just gives you like the strengths. It's free.
Gotcha.
It's KOLBY.
Gotcha.
So if you guys can take that.
That's awesome, man.
Well,
but to go back to the second question, 100% of our business is wholesale. We recently just did our first kind of wholesale deal.
Abby just texted me. We have 36 leads as of right now. You want to use that at the interview?
That's awesome.
We just did.
Did it.
So 100% of our business is wholesale. We recently just did our very first wholesale kind of thing, where we just had a seller who really needed to close by a specific date, and we're to the point now where we're more comfortable. Okay, now we're willing to, we have some private money lined up for whenever deals like that come up. So we recently just did our first like actual purchase, and then sold it.
We've kind of forced ourselves to always make it our business to make the wholesale process work without taking an asset down or raising any private capital. But we might be testing, like you said, we just did our first one, so we might be testing the other model just to see if there's anything we're leaving on the table.
Makes sense. Okay.
Because it wasn't a huge profit, but it was an extra deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it's just making us think, okay, maybe the profit margins should be bigger when we do that, but it could also add an extra 5 deals a month.
That's true.
So
and the old saying, right? Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. We've done a couple hotel deals. We're not the best at flipping either. We don't like flipping. But if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Right.
So Jaime Cardona's got a question. He says, what marketing channels are giving you guys the most deals?
So we're huge. So we look at, there's two things. So marketing channels, right? So all we really do right now is cold calling.
Okay. Yeah.
We do a little bit of other things as well, but 95% of everything we do is cold calling.
Gotcha.
We're very big on it. We're trying to perfect it as much as we possibly can, and just by sticking with that and starting with that one lead approach, I think has made us great at it. And then now we can just go on to other things from there if we so choose. I think prior to that, what we're going to do is we're just going to expand the markets that we're currently in.
That's awesome.
And go ahead. And our biggest performer is absentee owners.
Absentee owners.
So absentee owners and cold calling. That's our biggest.
Gotcha. Yeah. It seems it's weird. We've seen an increase in cold calling because we were doing really good in text, but cold calling never goes. It's always working.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Nice.
Have you guys tried anything besides the cold calling at all?
Oh yeah. We do some RVMs here and there. We're not consistent with it. So we're testing that out. We have to look at the data and then put something into place to where we can become consistent with it, and we're doing the same thing with direct mail.
Gotcha.
I think last time we looked at, we're getting like a 4x return on our direct mail. So I think that's okay compared to what people are saying about direct mail.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We can only go by the experience that we have.
Right.
So we may increase that once we compare what we're going to do next.
That's awesome. So Steve just corrected me. He says it's Kolbe, Colby.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
It measures behavioral tendencies. So.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Oh, Chase is watching. He said, boom, cold calling is king.
Yes. So, what were some of your, we'll move on to this question. What were some of your early struggles, after you both partnered up?
Early struggles?
Yeah.
I think, I don't think we had a whole lot of struggles with each other.
Correct.
I think we've always been more than 100% committed to the cause, to the greater good of the company.
Right.
I would say the struggles were gaining momentum in our company, seeing good spreads, having great months, and basically making our long-term vision clearer. It's all getting that way now, but when you hear of a lot of the big dogs doing, $15,000 to $25,000 average spreads, and our average spread in the beginning is like $4,500,
right?
We just had to figure all of that out, which we're still figuring out. Our average spread is between 7,000 and 8,000.
Okay.
And we'll get the 20 some odd thousands, the 30 some odd thousands. We had our biggest one recently, 42,000. So we'll get the bigger ones, but we also get the smaller ones. And when we average out how our entire month goes, we're between 7,000 and 8,000 on average.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think our struggles in the beginning were keeping hope on getting to the goals that we want to get to before figuring out the way to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was a struggle or not, but I do feel like in the beginning, I think an internal struggle was we were working a lot on the system of the business.
Right.
And you can spend a lot of time trying to perfect your website and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not really bringing in that money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we did a lot of reinvesting in the business as soon as we could.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right, money's coming in. Let's hire somebody. And that's something that I learned from this guy, right? It's just, if it's a repetitive task, we need to hire somebody to do it, or take it off of our plate. Right. And so I think that was one of our challenges was there's a lot of stuff that's repetitive,
Mhm.
and then just trusting that, all right, I am going to hire these people. It is going to cost me some money, you know, and we have to trust that we are going to close deals, right? Because in the beginning, it's super easy for a deal not to close if it's just you know what I mean? All right, I can make it through this month, you know, with my credit card or whatever. I'll make it through this month, and then next month let's have some closings.
Right.
But when you have payroll, you know,
it changes.
$2,000 a week now, and then it becomes, you know, $7,000 a week now, and it's so that was in the beginning was just all right, we got to put the money, and now we're seeing the fruits of it.
Right.
So I don't know if it was it was more of a mindset shift that I had to have in the beginning.
Right.
And we're seeing the fruits of it now.
Yeah.
And so now it just makes me want to do more now of what we did in the beginning. Like, we just got to hire more now or spend more money marketing right now so that we can have this feeling that we're having now in a year from today with, you know, $1 million months.
Yeah.
And
It's almost like shifting your mind from being worried about spending money to getting excited about wanting to spend more money because you know the return that you're capable of making.
Right. Makes sense. It is a struggle, I think, for every business owner. Do we make another hire? You know, we're going through something like that right now too. But it's always a struggle. And I mean, it's I think, like you said, you hit on the head. Like, it's a mindset thing, right? Like, do I need this or not? So,
I think one of the things that helped us with that, because you'll get, you know, loaded with tasks, right? That can be repetitive, whatever kind of tasks they are, and it'll be 100% clear that you have to hire someone to take those off of your plate, right? The hard part about figuring out if you can hire someone or not is when you're in between a lot of tasks and not enough tasks. And I think our rule of thumb is if we're in between, we're going to take the next step and hire somebody. And then it's our job to be accountable to the business to fill that person's role.
Right. And just going off that, how does your organization look right now? Your guys' organization?
So we have 8 cold callers. We have 2 underwriters. So an underwriter is somebody who, when the cold callers get a lead, they push it into our CRM Podio. It notifies the underwriter, and then the underwriter starts running comps on the property, and they're the ones that create the offer amount for our acquisition closers to offer. So it goes to our underwriter. So our underwriters, we have a calculator that we created, and we put in the comps. It'll create an offer range for them to put into the property, and then they'll judge to the best of the ability. Okay, the calculator says 70 to 85, but the seller owes 83. You know, maybe let's just do the 85 on this one. You know, there's no point of trying to negotiate that to 70. You know, stuff like that, right? So they'll try to use their judgment to the best of the ability, and then they'll task it over to the acquisition closers. We have 3 closers right now, 3 acquisition managers. It's weird. Everybody uses different
for more
names for everything. But our closers, our acquisition managers, they're the guys who call the sellers, negotiate. We do 100% of our negotiations over the phone. Try to lock them up over the phone through DocuSign. So we have 3 acquisition closers right now. We have 2 interviews on Friday. Did you see we got another one?
Nice.
So 2 on Friday for another acquisition closer, and then once they lock it up over the phone and get the DocuSign, then we send a field guy. So we have 1 field guy. We have a company car for him, and he just goes to the field all day. He'll deboard properties, change the locks on houses, do live negotiations. He actually started off as a cold caller, then became an acquisition closer, and now he does our field. That's awesome. So that's all he does. He'll meet buyers if we have an appointment with buyers. So we're very systemized, and only 1 person really needs to be in the field.
Got you. Makes sense.
Just where the acquisition managers can stay on the phone trying to get more sales done.
Wow. So we don't lock stuff. A lot of our stuff's done in appointments. Are you guys doing all your stuff in Jacksonville?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, got you. No virtual wholesaling at all.
No virtual wholesaling, not yet.
Okay, got you. Yeah. That's awesome that you guys are able to do that. So it's always a good thing.
It's weird. So it's kind of isn't it like a hybrid in a way? So we kind of operate in a wholesale in a virtual fashion in our current
own current market
because we're locking them up over the phone. Before our field guy goes. The reason he goes is for the pictures, the property assessment, and to see whether we were right on our numbers or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we kind of preset it so that we can easily adapt to other markets.
Right.
We would just need boots on the ground representation.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are setting up that system, right? If you want to go to
Mhm.
another market, so that's actually a good way to do it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once our field guy comes back, he'll give it to our disposition marketer, and she'll just, she's actually like our office liaison, so she kind of coordinates acquisitions with dispositions.
Okay.
So she'll have, she'll take on the file after a closer has locked it up. We still got to set appointments to go look at the property and stuff like that. So she'll take over seller communications until it goes to close.
Nice.
And then she'll market the property out, blast it on our website, blast it to our buyers list, put it on Craigslist, Facebook groups, stuff like that. And then she'll hand the file over to our disposition manager, who handles the influx of buyer calls as proactive reach out for buyers. And then once we lock up the deal with the buyer, then she'll hand over the file with the transaction coordinator, and that's when the transaction coordinator then takes on the clients, buyers, and sellers to closing.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow, that's a pretty good structure. I mean,
and then we have a property or a project manager,
Yes.
who helps us on like the business development side. The pulling the lists, sending the mailers out, uploading stuff into the dialer. And yeah.
That's interesting. I've heard people call their disposition guys project managers. I think Scott Utu was here a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he calls his disposition guy project managers because homeowners don't know what a disposition person is or anything.
That's
so
true.
we're gonna have our project manager go out.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh wow.
So you said project manager handles your leads.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it just makes it easier, I think, so you don't get stuck in the verbiage and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there a specialty that you focus on, like as far as elite source or any properties, a specialty that you guys are big on?
So the I think our specialty is that there really isn't a specialty. That it's very, very broad.
Yeah.
I think our approach is just a guerrilla marketing kind of approach where we cast a very large blanket and we take it from there. So we built a rather large team so far compared to the typical wholesaler.
Right.
We're using the bigger lists, the absentee owners, the vacant properties, the tax delinquents, the 55 plus lists. Those are our 4 main lists. You're welcome. And we just basically, we attach the bigger lists. We realize the smaller niche lists, they might need a little bit more attention, a little bit more nurturing. We weren't very good at it. We could have become good, but we chose just a different approach.
Right.
So I think that that's our niche, is that it's not niche. It's just a very large kind of approach to what we're doing.
Correct.
I would say the only thing that we do disqualify out is when we pull our list and stuff like that, we try to go no higher than 300,000 price point.
Gotcha.
For our market.
For our market.
Okay.
Yeah, in Jacksonville.
And then how far are you going back as far as like transfer date or anything like that? Last purchase date?
Just pulling everything.
Just pulling everything?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. Because you can probably, I can see that. That's usually a good way, just because you never know what's in that, in that general list. And you have a lot more people that you can market to.
Correct.
Jerome Tag wants to know, how do you pay your field guy?
How do we pay our field guy?
He's on salary plus bonus.
Okay.
Right? We've tried a whole bunch of different things over the last couple of years. So he makes a certain salary, and then I think we're giving him 2%. 2% of the deals that are closed that he works on with the closers.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he did absolutely nothing on a deal, then we don't pay him out on it. But he mostly touches almost all deals.
Got you.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then how consistently are you guys pulling data and skip tracing the data?
So we're getting on a consistent pull now where it's going to be monthly, every single month.
Right.
We would pull large batches, and we would work on them. And sometimes we can work on the batches for a couple of months before having to pull again.
Okay.
Now, with what we pull, like basically absentee, vacant, 55 plus, and tax delinquent, now that we know what we're good at, we're pulling everything left that we can pull in our market, and then we'll just revisit once a month and pull refresh data.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a good process. And then as far as, do you guys want to share like what your monthly expenses just for marketing and a little bit of the overhead, since you guys do have such a large operation? I mean, do you guys want to kind of talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but what did we say? It's like $7,000, right,
Okay.
for payroll
Yes.
a month or a week.
7 to 8 grand.
7 to 8
Wow.
grand for payroll a
Right.
week, and then we're spending probably around 10 to 15 grand a month
Marketing.
in marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are running pretty lean then. I mean, for the
We're-
most part. Yeah.
We're trying to,
Right.
and then everything that we're making, man.
Well,
we're-
that's not including incentives.
Oh, okay.
So we'll
true.
pay out incentives to our acquisition guys, to the dispo person.
Yeah.
So I would say 5, 6, 7, 8% of our deals get paid out in incentives, plus a general team bonus.
Okay.
So we're probably paying out close to 10%
Yes.
Okay.
in incentives to
Right.
the team.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you have to in a way because you want to make sure that they're happy, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
They're the
And it
front.
helps.
They're the front line. Yeah.
They're
Totally
watching
helps.
right now, so you guys better be happy.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, that's really awesome. I appreciate you guys sharing that information.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Brandon Rayburn, and I think you guys kind of touched this a little bit. If you guys want to go a little bit more into depth, is he wants to know how involved are you both in the day-to-day operations? What does that look like?
We're busy every single day.
Yeah.
Very, very involved. So we don't really touch the specific transactions.
Okay.
So we're not talking to sellers. We're not talking to buyers.
Okay,
Maybe a little bit when
Right.
we have to, if we have to put out fires and
Mhm.
things like that.
Right.
But the system's not perfect yet, right? So there's all this judgment that has to be made, exceptions, and then up training for the employees that have to be
Right.
done. And that keeps us very busy
Yeah.
all
Okay.
day. Then, project development is huge. I
Mhm.
think that's one of the key things that is going to help us to go from good to great.
Yeah.
And that's why we have our project manager role. So we want to build on the project development department so we can continue to masterize the system
Right.
and fix up the company, whatever the case may be. So I think that's what differentiates us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It sounds like you guys are working quite a bit on your standard operation processes, which is,
Yeah.
that's the big
Yes.
thing, right? So when you do hire somebody new, it's like all there. You don't have to keep retraining.
Right. Right.
I mean, obviously you have
Yeah.
to train, but
Yeah,
you know.
that's what we're constantly working on, and then we're the challenges of just trying to scale and grow.
Yeah.
Doing more deals means
Right.
more angry buyers, more angry sellers, more more fires to put out, more angry tenants calling, what's going on, and so it's just handling that, and then
Mhm.
a lot of the situations that come about, our team hasn't handled it. They haven't handled that kind of situation in
Right.
the past,
Wow.
and so they will bring us the problem.
Yeah.
We tell them how to fix it,
Right.
and then we let them fix it. And then if they can't fix it, that's when we'll get involved.
Gotcha.
Right.
But a
And then
lot of
once
it
you
is us telling them,
Yeah.
all right,
And then-
the seller offered or the buyer offered 50, and we have it under contract for 50.
Right.
Should we renegotiate the seller and try to make it work, or should we just counter how long have we had the deal?
Yeah.
Those decisions we're
Gotcha.
still making.
Okay, gotcha,
You know?
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. So we're still very involved in the office every single
Yeah.
day. There before everybody gets there, there till
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
everybody leaves. So very, very involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have a cool little office setup,
Mm-hmm.
and then me and him are right in the middle.
Wow. That's
Basically.
cool.
So
yeah,
he
so it's
can,
like a huge rectangle.
Yeah,
kinda,
yeah.
It's literally a boiler room.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And then inside of the rectangle, it's a built kind of cabinet desk space where you can put desktops on top.
Okay.
So I can have a vision of half the office. He's on the other side with a vision
Yeah.
of half the office. And I think
Yeah.
that's another key thing that
Yeah.
helps us as well as being on the floor with the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the system is not perfect yet.
Right.
And because we want to hire leadership
Mhm.
positions over time.
Right.
And until we can do that, I think we need to be in there every single day.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you're leading by example, and they're watching you guys, and it
Correct.
just makes them want to go.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
Templeton Walker said, 2 killers right there. Tell him
Oh,
Templeton said, what's
Tim?
up?
That's my boy.
What's up, Tim?
What's up, brother?
Tim's a real good dude. I liked him.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's also part of Stunny Homes Realty. So, I guess that leads to my next question is, what CRM or what tools or systems you couldn't live without right now?
Yeah.
Ooh, they want all the
I know,
secrets.
right?
All the secrets.
I asked you guys off camera.
Everybody
We're
watch.
totally cool with it. We're
Did
totally
you,
cool
did
with
you
it.
send waivers to everybody watching?
I did, actually. I don't know. That's
We need 10%, guys. 10%.
That's Steve, not me. No.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's
I'd
so
say
many.
I mean, the systems that we could not live without, I think number one is our dialer, call tools.
Auto dialer.
Right? We use call tools.
Okay.
So the auto dialer for our leads, could not live without that. Our Podio, right? Our CRM Podio, could not live without that. I would say Zapier. Like Zapier and GlobyFlow, the different automations inside. I mean, could we live without it? Maybe, you know, like, but it's
your life would be easy.
But we can't scale.
Right.
We wouldn't be able to scale without them. Different automations and, you know, with the push of a button, this happens. And
correct.
Without that, it's tough to scale, and you can't really create a system. Then you're more people dependent. We don't want to be people dependent.
Yeah.
We want to be system dependent. So let's see, call tools, Podio. What else?
Zapier, GlobyFlow, you said.
Google Docs.
Google Drive.
Like the Google Drive, everything, you know, all of our business, we have a physical folder.
Yeah.
But then we also have a Google Drive folder inside of, you know, Google Drive.
Right.
Add everything in there. You know, I can pull up any HUD right now, anything, just because it's easy for me to do that. So I think those would be the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, our email blast, MailChimp.
Yeah.
There's probably a ton we're not even thinking of. We pull our data from ListSource. We pull some data from REI Pro. Look at mortgage data just to make sure that there's even room in a deal for us to spend so much time negotiating.
Right.
So we look at that.
Oh, Vumber. Dude, all these systems, man.
I know. Hey, guys, they're giving the juice. They're
right?
letting everything out. So make sure that you guys share go and subscribe to the podcast and ask your questions. So we're still here live. So
and I think what's important too about all of these systems is you have to decide if you're okay whether it integrates with another system or not.
Correct.
Or if it's even possible to integrate those systems. It's very important to look at before you choose one system over another system.
Makes sense.
Because I think a lot, if not all of our systems are integrated in one way or another.
Right. And I think that goes back to workflow, right? I mean, sometimes you're looking for the right process, and then a certain system, you can't integrate it with that process. So that's a very good point. I appreciate you sharing that. And you know, Steve likes to ask this question since it's a black cloud that's starting to form. You know, what any plans as far as if the market takes a little bit of a dip? Have you guys thought about that at all? Or are you guys just humming away?
Publix is always hiring, bro.
I'm with you. I'll be right behind.
No. So as far as like the market crashing, I don't think we're really scared of that. We know, like, you always hear a lot of people, everybody says, I can't wait till it crashes again. You know, I can't wait till the market tanks because then I'm ready to buy, right? So we know that when the market tanks, there's going to be more buyers than there are right now, right? More bigger buy and hold investors, right? Correct. So I think the clientele is going to change. We're not going to be selling to flippers anymore. We're going to be selling to buy and hold landlords. Correct. Right? Yeah. Trusts and stuff like that, funds. And so that's just the way that we'll just shift is let's market now to landlord buyers. And I think we'll be doing, you know, I don't think it'll change our growth. It might make it even more. But I don't think it'll change our growth. We're not really too worried. I hear every single event that I go to,
I know.
Dude, as soon as the market crashes, I'm going to buy everything, right? So everybody says it, but there are those big real buyers that are waiting for the, they're waiting for the dip, and as soon as it tanks, I think it'll remove a lot of the competition that can't really make it. Exactly. And we will just succeed even more than we are today.
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's down to a T what I believe as well. You know, your buyers are going to change. And actually, I was having this conversation with somebody 2 days ago who has a big wholesale business here, and you just have to build those relationships now. So when it does dip, you know, they're on your phone already to pick up the call. Yeah, correct. So definitely going to change. I think it's pronounced Sanad Sabiq wants to know, how do you pull the mortgage data?
Oh, Sanad, my man.
Oh, okay, you know him?
He's in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
You want to give that secret away?
I'll give the secret away. Yeah, I mean, so it's basically a lot of the systems that are out there for the purpose of real estate investing, wholesaling real estate. Yeah. They provide it. You just have to know which ones to go and which ones to use.
Gotcha.
And it's hard to see sometimes like it's not really advertised all the time that they can do this feature. It's just something you figure out. Like we figured it out as we were using it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the system that's called REI Pro, it's myreipro.com.
Right.
If you create a login, they give a free trial and all that stuff. So if you create a login, there's an area that you can go into that you click mortgage, and it tells you when they pulled the mortgage out and how much it was. Like I'm pretty sure there's nothing out there, unless you know of something different, that will show you the current balance of a mortgage right now. We have to just verify that with the mortgage company, with the seller, or the title company will find that out. Mm-hmm. But we can find out that a mortgage was pulled, when it was pulled, and then how much was it at that time.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that gives you 100% accurate, unless I'm wrong, but it's always got to be done through an official payoff.
Exactly.
You can get close. That's what you can
we can calculate.
But I mean, accurate 100%. You have to get an official payoff.
Yeah. Now, in addition to being able to see when a mortgage was taken out and the amount, normally if you have a clerk of court's website, you can go there as well to see if there's a satisfaction of mortgage. Was that ever paid off? Is it free and clear right now?
Right, correct. I know we've been talking about systems, we've been talking about data, we've been talking about operations. Now I'm going to bring it down personal to you guys. So what is your why? I don't know if you both have a why or not, or which I know. I mean, not individually. I know you have your why as far as business, but individually, what is your why that drives you?
Yeah, definitely. So to me, it's it might sound a little corny, but it's building a legacy. It's being an example to my family and to everybody around me that you do need to strive to become the best out there, not the best that you can be, but the best out there, right? Because sometimes the best that you can be, you're the ones that determines that, right? So
you can think you're the best right now.
I can think I'm doing the best that I can right now, but it's not true. I need to be the best, right? So it's my why is really just to prove to my family and everybody around me that you can achieve an incredible amount of success, and I need to prove it to them, and then once I achieve the level of success that I want to achieve, is obviously giving back. It's cool because I just moved from and it's funny, I haven't told this to anybody, but I just moved from a new house to another house, right? And I had this little corner shop that I used to go to all the time, right? And the owner, I became really close with the owner just because I was always there. He's just a super humble dude, has 8 kids, immigrant from Haiti, right? And he has his own little corner store. And basically I'm moving, so I'm not going to go to that corner store ever again, So before I left, I just went to the corner store. I just gave the dude $100. And I was like, dude, here's $100. I'm not going to be able to come to the store anymore, but I love your shop. You're always super nice to everybody that comes. Here's $100. And just being able to do that, just gives you an incredible feeling. The look on his face, was just super gratitude. Surprised that somebody would even do that. So just having that feeling is just all right, now I need to do more. I need to be giving away $100 to everybody every day that obviously that's not feasible right now. $50, right? That's why I don't give him his 50 so I can give other people.
It's being spent over here, man. It's being spent on his wife.
Giving a guy he don't even know $100. I'm his business partner.
Right? I think so that at least that's my why, is to be able to make a difference, and
that's cool. How about yours?
I'm gonna take it back. So basically, my real father passed away when I was 1 year old. He was building a really, really great business. He's building a printing company, and this is back in the 70s, that he started out of the basement of our house. Then he went to build it in Manhattan. He had an office probably the size of this room. And then he grew it to the entire floor of that building in Manhattan with aspirations to go to a second and third floor. And he was just on the fast path to success. And he had a massive heart attack and died when I was 1 year old. My mom didn't know what she was doing. She sold it, didn't get a whole lot of money, and we grew up broke, right? Everyone's talking stories about his legacy, what he did. Everybody loved him. And I feel like I would like to be the individual to take the baton. To take the baton, continue his legacy from where he left off, and just take that path to the next level in honor of him. And thankfully, G allowed me to name the company after what his business was named.
Oh, that's
it was
awesome.
Regency Litho Assets.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you know that litho, it's short for lithography, which means
Okay.
printing.
Oh,
So
okay.
his company was Regency Litho.
That's awesome.
Right. I also have like a weird chemical imbalance in me, or maybe you could look at it as a chemical balance,
Right.
to where, like, you know, you look around you, right, and you see that you're capable of so much, right? And I have a very canny ability to solve problems. People come to me with an issue,
Right.
and I can think of 3 ideas like almost instantly.
Correct.
And then we just have to pick the best right idea
Mhm.
to bring that to a solution. And I just feel like it's my responsibility. You know, if I'm capable of doing things like that, it's my responsibility to apply it to the best of my ability and grow
Right.
as vastly and as much as I can in that ability.
Yeah, yeah.
So those are my whys.
That's awesome, and let's go back to, like, you know, after you're long gone, since like you guys are even on the same vision as your wives, like leaving a legacy, right?
Yes.
And just squeezing everything out, like you're saying, giving back, solving problems and stuff.
Yes.
So that makes really good for leadership skills. So
Yeah.
that's actually awesome. And you guys mind sharing what are your superpowers?
Ooh. What is my superpower? That's a good
So
question.
I can take it first. I'll give
Yeah,
you something
yeah.
to think.
Give me a thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if it's like flight or invincibility or.
So when I talk on a layman's level, I just basically say, is it okay to curse? I basically say I have the ability to figure shit out.
Yeah.
That's my superpower.
Nice.
Like, you can say what the problem is. I might probe with 5 to 10 questions, figure out different parts of it, and I'd say, you know, all right, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm right, and if I'm not right, I'll have options, and G is a great decision maker.
Yeah.
He'll pick what's the right one out of the options. I think that we go through that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Be the problem solver, Steve.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I guess my superpower, I would say, is the ability to
Be young.
be young and look young.
Yeah, there you go.
No. The ability to I wouldn't want to say to persuade others, but the ability to motivate somebody to make a decision that I want them to make. That makes sense.
Right, right.
And by making them think that they thought of it on their own.
Or even to make the decision that they want to make.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So the ability to lead others, I think I've always been a natural leader.
Mhm.
I've always been able to paint a better picture of why my idea is better.
Yeah.
And
cool.
so it's being able to lead others, I think, is my superpower, is just going into a room, understanding that somebody is going to have to become the leader.
Yeah.
So it needs to be me,
Gotcha.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
because most of the time, you probably come across this a lot, most people are not going to step up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If someone asks who wants to volunteer, no one's going to volunteer.
Correct.
Right? So G
Correct.
would be the guy to
Yes.
go volunteer.
Yes. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I mean, and I think most of us here, you know, being an entrepreneur, being a driver and stuff, we've already jumped. We're building our plane down the road. We've burned our bridges, if you want to call them. So,
Yep.
yeah, now you're reaching out. You know, always the way I look at it is always, I'm moving up so I can extend my hand back down and bring those on top. So,
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. What is your biggest struggle right now in the business? I know you guys kind of touched a little bit on some things that you need to grow in.
Yeah.
So I generally speaking, I think finding and retaining good people,
Yeah.
Yep.
is a huge struggle. There's a lot of people that will volunteer to come work for you, and then we have to make our best decisions, and it all revolves around the interview, right? 1 or 2 step interview process. You have to ask the questions. But the way we've been approaching it lately is there's questions that we like to get through, but we just want to have the conversation with the dude or the lady. We want to talk with them, see if we vibe with that individual,
Gotcha.
if they're like us. There's people that have been overqualified that want to work with us that we just turn down, and we don't offer them the position.
Yeah.
So it's just finding the people that are just like us so we can enjoy our workplace. I don't want to be in a workplace that I own that I don't have the best time of my life in. We want to have the time of our lives in our workplace, and we are having that right now.
Yeah,
so we want to
that's
keep
awesome.
that going and make it just better.
Yeah, you want to find people that fit your culture, your core values. You don't want to wake up and like, oh, I got to go see that guy today.
Yep.
Awesome. And I think that's a struggle. That's a lot of business owners struggle with that, you know.
Yeah.
And because you always want to keep that core. I mean, I know we were up to like 9 people one time, and then I mean, right now we got 3 acquisitions that these guys are great. They bought into you have to get them to buy into what you believe.
Yep.
Not only into doing the work, but what you believe as well. So
Right,
it's awesome.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd say another struggle I think that
Yep.
we have is how to grow, meaning do we grow with people? Do we grow with technology? Do we grow with
Tweaking
office
existing
space?
processes.
Yeah, tweaking
Mhm.
existing processes
Right.
or testing something new out, So I think that's a common struggle
Mhm.
of every business in general, but
Right.
I think that's something right now, so for example, last week we just upgraded everybody's computer. So we
Okay.
have, 14 people in the
Right.
team. So 14 brand new computers, and we upgraded the computer so that we could give everybody 4 screens, so
Mhm.
4 monitors.
Okay.
Right, so we just upgraded everybody to that.
Nice.
So it's
Okay.
like 15 grand that we're gonna cough up, So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, we're gonna spend 15 grand instead of giving them new computers. Should we just send a shit ton of mailers with that?
Yeah.
So it's like it's always having that struggle of
Yeah.
what are we gonna do with this money, because we know we need to use it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we gonna do? Are we gonna hire more people, or are we just gonna send more marketing? Should
Right.
we send more RVMs? Should we, get a better computer?
Yeah,
Should
and
we,
we're already great at a certain marketing approach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do we try other marketing techniques out, or do we do what we're already great at and go to another market?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, do you don't more where you're at? Do you expand? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's something good to struggle with. And before we kind of wrap this up a little bit, 2 more questions here. What was your, as far as just the business, and you both can, whoever wants to go first, what was your favorite, best, or most interesting failure so far in your business?
our most interesting failure?
Yeah.
So I think a most interesting failure in the beginning. I don't know if it was a fail. Let me put it to you this way. I think
Mhm.
everything happens for a reason,
Mhm.
But I think in the beginning I think we tried to niche down too much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because we were just cleaning up our projects list,
Mhm.
right? We have a list of 100 to 200 projects.
Mm-hmm.
We just think of an idea. All right, let me add it to the spreadsheet,
Project
and then
list.
we'll get to it, right? And we just had to clean it up because it was like, all right, are some of these projects just stupid stuff? You know what I mean?
Well, another problem was
Yeah.
we would have we like to create visuals as drivers for ourselves.
Mhm.
So in the project development department, Allie, she's our project manager, and she has a whiteboard.
All right.
There were 20 projects on
Yes.
there, and so she had she wasn't really finishing. She was in the middle of a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
okay.
in the meeting that G's talking
Yep.
about,
Right.
we said, listen, we're just going to keep 3 on the board. Erase everything, put it on the spreadsheet, keep it tucked away,
Right.
and you have the visual, the 3
Yeah.
most important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you get those done, as you get one done, add another one to the bottom.
Makes sense. A lot of clarity in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so what I was getting at is there was a project on the project board that said expand our data list to over 75,000.
Right.
Right.
Mhm, mhm.
And it took me back to in the beginning, we were only pulling lists of properties that were up to 50,000
Right.
and only working in the hood.
Mm.
And so it was good for us in the beginning because I had a lot of hood buyers coming,
Yeah.
starting this business.
Define the hood.
Right.
Where I grew up.
Where I grew up.
And so I think that kind of limited us in the beginning, but I
Yeah.
think it was needed,
Right.
But at the same time, we were only pulling lists of up to 50,000,
Okay.
like properties that were worth at the most 50,000.
Yeah.
And then we bumped it up to 75,000.
Mm.
And then we bumped it up to 100,000.
Right.
And then 150. And now we're up to 300,000. And we
Yeah.
feel very comfortable
And we
with
went above
300,000.
300 too.
Yeah,
right?
we went above 300. We did up to 600.
Yeah.
But we just don't have much success with,
Yeah.
properties
in
up
our
there.
market, yeah.
Right. Right.
And so I think that was an interesting failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a failure, but something
yeah.
that we went through was just like, why were we only pulling list of the hood? You know what I mean? Like, we should have pulled it everywhere. But it is what it is. We made our
Yeah,
mark,
right.
and I feel like that's why also, like, in the beginning, our average deal size was $4 to $5 grand because
Yeah.
the properties were only worth $5 to $10 grand anyways. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
to add to that really quick, And I don't know if this constitute as a failure either, because it's something that happened over time, not at once. Like we said in the beginning of the interview, we built our system, right? And we prematurely built it to get ready for a heavy influx and higher sales.
Right.
You always got to think, like, should our concentration be reversed, because sales is the number one most important thing in our business, right?
Right.
We need to be talking to sellers every single day and doing deals, as many deals as we possibly can.
Right.
So was too much time spent on the system.
Correct.
You know, everyone they want to learn, they want to educate themselves, they want to automate, they want to get the systems, put all these things together, tweak them.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing business in there, you're hurting yourself, you know? So should we have had a way bigger focus on sales than we did on the system?
Right. But I think that comes with the struggle of working on the business and in the business, right? Because you're trying to generate income, but yet you're trying to expand. And that's always that struggle, like, how much of it do we focus on? So, Yep. And then what book have you both gifted more than any other?
Oh, I've got one, but do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be E-Myth.
E-Myth? Okay,
E-Myth,
that's a great book.
Revisited, Michael Gerber.
Right.
I think that book truly changed my mindset into, because when I got started, my brother's a real estate agent, and so he was the one that got me into real estate. So when you talk to a real estate agent, it's not really somebody who owns a business. It's just somebody who has a super successful side hustle, you know.
Makes sense.
And they're self-employed.
Yep.
And so I wanted that, right? I was like, I want to be a super successful realtor.
Right.
Then I got introduced to wholesaling, and then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna, I don't want to be like my older brother. I didn't know you could also wholesale, so I'm gonna try to wholesale and try to sell my brother some properties, right? And then I read E-Myth, and that E-Myth was kind of what shifted me to, instead of I just want to do 10 to 15 deals a year, it's I should hire a person, you know what I mean? I need to hire another person. I want a CEO, I want a CFO, I want a COO, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's the book that totally changed my mindset. In the very beginning was, instead of treating something like a side hustle, is treating it like a business, and building it like if you were going to franchise the business. Even if you're not going to franchise, you need to build your business like if you were going to franchise. That's the only freedom through
company, and he's involved. Like,
yes,
he's been involved for years. But how about yours?
So I feel like this book is one of my secrets. But I'm gonna
let it out, man.
A lot of people.
We're on the Real Estate Disruptor show.
A lot of people haven't read this book. I'm surprised. Even some high level producers haven't read this book, and it's really a next level kind of a book. And if you download it on audio and you hear the reader, I think something Blazers, or I forgot his name. It's a very monotone read, so it's hard to listen to, but the content is just so powerful. It's called 0 to 1.
No.
It's called 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, one of the biggest angel investors in Facebook.
Okay.
And he created PayPal and partnered with Elon Musk and all that stuff. It's called 0 to 1.
Okay.
And it's not like you're taking steps 0 to 1, then 2 and 10. It's not like that. It's going from 0, building a company from nothing to being the only one.
Yeah.
Like creating a monopoly type business, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very different way of looking at a way of building a business, or the type of business that you want to build, right? It's billionaire thinking. It's next level thinking. I think it was super powerful to me. It makes us look at the business in a different way. It makes us look at what we're going to do next to make it truly different than what the rest of the world does. Yeah. And that's awesome. It just appealed to me. It was awesome. Yeah. So I highly recommend that book for anyone that hasn't read it yet.
Yeah, and it's a small book.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's a small
no
read.
Excuses for anybody.
Yeah, no excuses.
We have a very, very successful, very, very rich friend that lives in the Netherlands that referred that book to us, and he said, if you read this book, he goes, frankly, that's all of the business education you need, better than a Harvard business education. Yeah. And then I read it, and I was just blown away.
That's awesome. And I gave him his Harvard degree.
I kind of feel about that book the same way I feel. So I went to the growth conference too, that was based in Las Vegas, right? They have all these really powerful speakers, and they were all great. They were all great, right? And you network with people, and you're talking to them about, who's your favorite speaker? Who's your favorite speaker? I'm going to follow this. I'm going to join this guy's program and all that stuff. They were all great. No one liked the guy that I liked. And then I didn't know this until afterward, but he was the only billionaire speaker on the stage.
Oh,
do you ever hear of
wow.
a guy named Naveen Jain?
I don't think I have.
Naveen Jain, I think he worked very closely in building Microsoft with Bill Gates.
Mhm.
It's like his right-hand man, and then he branched off to make his own company, right? So
Yeah,
Naveen Jain was like, he's talking about things like curing sickness, and he
Right.
and he talked about how he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind. It wasn't, I'm going to go make $1 million flipping houses, and I'll become a millionaire in
Right.
a year, so I want to wholesale. It was just like,
You wanna make an
sickness
impact.
starts in the gut,
Right.
and there's something in your gut that communicates with the cells, and I want to cut off that communication so
Yeah.
people can't get sick any longer.
Makes sense.
And it blew my mind. So, and it
That's great.
really, no one really caught that. No one really,
Right.
didn't resonate with almost anyone I talked to.
Right.
So that's how I feel about the book as well.
Wow. Okay. I'll have to put that on my reading list. I haven't read that one.
Don't
so
read
that's
it.
the other one.
Don't
read it.
That's mine. That's mine.
And I'll give you some feedback. As we get ready to wrap this up, you know, I want to kind of give you guys an opportunity to give you guys, that way you guys can let the audience know how they can reach you, what you guys have coming up, and I'm going to make a quick announcement after you guys do that, and then we're going to go back into any last thoughts that you guys can leave with the audience. So, you know, go ahead and let the audience know how they can reach you and what you guys got coming up here soon.
Sure. Well, my name is Dominick Felix, and you can follow me on Facebook, Dominick Felix. You can friend request me or follow me, Real Dominick Felix or Real Dom Felix on Instagram. We also have a Facebook group called the People's Wholesalers, where we go live similar to this show, and we give a lot of free information, a lot of good posts, a lot of good interaction in that group as well.
Yep.
Awesome.
And me, Gonzalo Corzo, on Facebook, and then on Instagram, Real Gonzalo Corzo. And yeah, we have the Facebook group, and then we just had an event.
Okay.
Actually, it was in August, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So we had like 70 people there,
Nice.
and we we just did, that was like our first big training,
Mhm.
right? Just because a lot of people have been asking us.
Right.
So we're doing another one in January. It's in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's going to be January 23rd through the 25th.
Okay.
That's called Power Up.
And everything that we talked about our business here
Okay.
is a detailed
Okay.
explanation of it at the event, with all of that deal flow and all the checklists and everything that we use in our business provided, so that people can choose to use it
Okay.
or tweak it that tailors
Awesome.
to their business.
And if they join the group, your Facebook group, all that information will be there for that event coming up?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. What was the name of the Facebook group one more time?
The People's Wholesalers.
The People's Wholesalers. So guys, go and request to get access to it. I'm not sure if it's a private Facebook or not.
It's free. You just
Okay.
have to join.
Awesome. So I'm going to make one quick announcement, and then I'll come back and get your guys' final thoughts. So if you guys want to kind of just, think about what you guys want to say, and then we'll kind of end up the show. So tomorrow, we have the legendary Sean Terry is going to be on the show. Steve will be back tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Hopefully everything's okay. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Again, everyone, if you have not subscribed to the podcast, please go subscribe. Steve is doing a lot of great things for the community again, and he's just wanting to grow this thing and give back as much as possible. You guys know the motto. It's, we're trying to create 100 millionaires, and, we get we get investors that come on here. They give out their heart. They show their business. So very valuable content. It's not about us. It's about you. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Can't say that enough. Tune in tomorrow. We will have Sean Terry, the legendary Sean Terry, here on the podcast. So with that being said, I'm going to let Dominick and Gonzalo give their last thoughts and give you guys some insight. So go ahead. The floor is for you guys. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say for people that are doing deals at our level, less than our level, trying to get into it or doing a deal here or there, you're going to look at our company. You're going to look at, there's so many people you can compare yourselves to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so cool to see so many different companies that operate so differently in the same industry, and they're all doing extremely well. Right? So a lot of people are nervous. What do I do next? How do I grow it? No one is 100% right? I think we're all right. The key is to just get started, just make a move, just take action, and you'll figure it out along the way.
Awesome. Wise words.
Yeah, and I think what I would say is, I'm going to go a little deep, but I think it's change your sphere of influence.
Yep.
Stop hanging out. If you want to have incredible amounts of success, or you want to wholesale a ton of properties, you want to have a portfolio of whatever properties, like, you need to do your best to get in the rooms with people who have the amount of success that you want to achieve.
Right.
And everything that you do needs to align you with those people. Right? How can I get around successful people?
Yep.
If you're the smartest one in the room, to me, you're the dumbest one in the room. Right? And so everything that you need to do, you need to just change your sphere of influence, change the people you're hanging out with, change the people you're talking to, and only try to surround yourself with successful people. Awesome. And that'll make everything else easier.
Awesome. Sage words. Awesome. That's great. Again, if you like the show, please share this episode right now. A lot of golden nuggets were dropped. And like Steve always likes to say, a rising tide lifts all boats. Awesome, guys. It was awesome having you guys on.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yep.